The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense latest intelligence update on Ukraine, September 28, 2023. The Russian Aerospace Forces, VKS, have suffered major aircraft losses since launching their invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, with approximately 90 fixed-wing aircraft destroyed in combat. This attrition is taking a severe toll, as Russia is flying its aging fleet of combat aircraft far more intensively than during peacetime operations. All aircraft have a finite lifespan measured in flying hours. With the extra demands of wartime operations, Russia is likely consuming the remaining lifespans of many aircraft at a much faster rate than the Russian Aerospace Forces planned for. The intense maintenance required to keep these aircraft flying is further complicated by sanctions limiting Russia's access to spare parts. The combination of higher flight hours, combat losses, and parts shortages makes sustaining Russia's long-term air power increasingly difficult. While the Russian Aerospace Forces maintains the capacity for temporary surges over Ukraine, the cumulative effects of wear and tear after nearly a year of war will degrade its tactical aviation capabilities over the long run. Russia's failure to achieve air superiority despite its previously formidable air force highlights the successful resistance of Ukraine's air defenses and the unsustainability of Russia's invasion. Ukraine Armed Forces General Staff Update. Day 582 of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine continues. On September 28, there were 19 engagements between Ukrainian and Russian forces. During the night, Russia attacked Ukraine with 39 Shahed 136 and Shahed 131 kamikaze drones, of which 31 were intercepted by Ukrainian air defenses. Russia also launched a total of 76 airstrikes and 40 multiple launch rocket system attacks against Ukrainian troop positions and settlements, resulting in civilian casualties. Residential buildings and infrastructure were damaged or destroyed. The situation remains difficult in eastern and southern Ukraine. In the northwestern Volyn and Polisia regions, there are no major changes or signs of a Russian offensive buildup, though some Belarusian units continue activities near the Ukrainian border. In the northeastern Siversk and Sloboshansk regions, Russia maintains forces near the border and continues shelling Ukrainian settlements from Russian territory, while increasing minefields along the border. Over 35 settlements were struck by Russian artillery and mortars. On the Kupiansk axis, Russia conducted airstrikes near Krupy, Kupiansk, Berestov, and Novoselivske. Over 10 settlements were hit by Russian artillery and mortars. On the Lyman axis, Ukraine repelled a Russian attack near Bilohorivka. Russia struck Torsky, Siversk, Spern, Vasel with airstrikes and more than 10 settlements with artillery. On the Bakhmut axis, Russia hit Konstantinivka and Bila Hora with airstrikes and over 20 settlements with artillery. Russia continues laying mines. On the Avdiivka axis, Russia made 3 unsuccessful attempts to regain lost ground near Avdiivka. Russia struck Avdiivka with an airstrike and around 10 settlements with artillery. Ukraine repelled a Russian attack near Nevelski. On the Marinka axis, Ukraine repelled 6 Russian attacks near Marinka. Russia shelled about 10 settlements with artillery. On the Shakhtarsk axis, Ukraine repelled an attack near Urozhain. Russia struck Urozhain and Staromyorski with airstrikes and around 10 settlements with artillery. On the Zaporizhzhia axis, Russia unsuccessfully tried to regain lost ground near Chavon. Russia hit Mala Tokmachka and Robotyne with airstrikes and over 30 settlements with artillery. On the Kherson axis, Russia struck Mykolaievka with an airstrike and over 10 settlements with artillery. Ukraine continues offensive operations near Melitopol and Bakhmut, inflicting losses on Russian manpower and equipment. On September 28, Ukraine's Air Force conducted 13 airstrikes on Russian assets, shot down 2 Russian drones, and missile forces struck Russian anti-aircraft, artillery, and ammo targets. Overall, the update shows the resilience of Ukraine's forces in repelling Russian attacks across multiple fronts, and their ability to maintain counteroffensive operations despite Russia's strikes on civilian areas. The Institute for the Study of War Russian Offensive Campaign Assessment. The Ukrainian military continued counteroffensive operations near Bakhmut and western Zaporizhzhia Oblast on September 28. The Ukrainian General Staff stated its forces proceeded with offensive actions in the Melitopol direction, western Zaporizhzhia, and near Bakhmut. The Russian-backed Storm Ossetia and Alania volunteer battalions claimed unspecified sources are spreading false information about a supposed Ukrainian breakthrough near Robotyne and Verbov, They are likely referring to unverified claims made on September 22 to 23 by fringe Russian military bloggers of a Ukrainian advance into Verbov 18 kilometers southeast of Orikhiv. The Institute for the Study of War has been unable to independently confirm these reports and will refrain from including them without visual confirmation or similar claims from additional Russian sources. Overall, the Ukrainian counteroffensive operations appear to be continuing, especially near Bakhmut and western Zaporizhzhia. However, the Institute for the Study of War is cautiously filtering unverified claims that may overstate the scale of Ukrainian gains. The Institute for the Study of War's disciplined verification process provides reliable assessments amid the fog of war. The Institute for the Study of War key takeaways today. The pace of Russian localized offensive operations has decreased in recent days along the Kupiansk-Svatov-Kremina line in northern Luhansk Oblast. This likely indicates Russia is facing mounting difficulties sustaining major simultaneous offensives along multiple axes. Russian aviation has stepped up activities in Kharkiv, Luhansk, and Kherson oblasts, but has apparently become less active over western Zaporizhzhia Oblast, where Ukrainian counteroffensives are underway. The redistribution of Russian air assets underscores their need to prioritize certain areas while scaling back in others. Russian forces carried out a series of drone strikes against Ukrainian targets overnight September 27 to 28. The use of long-range drones allows Russia to continue harassing strikes deep into Ukrainian-held territory. Several Russian military bloggers have claimed they now heavily self-censor their frontline reporting, pointing to wider suppression of negative information on certain sectors. The Kremlin is increasingly cracking down on any open discussion of setbacks. Russia's State Duma passed in the first reading a bill criminalizing promotion and justification of extremism. The likely goal is to intimidate and encourage greater self-censorship within Russia's domestic information space. President Vladimir Putin signaled continued support for Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov during a September 28 meeting. As rumors swirl about Kadyrov's health and his son's behavior, Putin appears unshaken in his reliance on Kadyrov. The Russian information space continued lambasting the Armenian government while lamenting Russia's apparently decreased influence there. The rhetoric underscores Russian resentment over Armenia charting a more independent course. Despite Russian offensive operations along multiple axes, Kupiansk-Svatov-Kremina, near Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Donetsk City, western Zaporizhzhia, Moscow has failed to secure confirmed territorial gains. The lack of progress highlights Russia's mounting military challenges. Russian aerospace forces received additional 4th-generation Su-35S and 5th-generation Su-57 fighter jets on September 28, as Moscow attempts to offset severe aircraft losses in Ukraine. The deliveries are unlikely to fundamentally improve Russia's weakened air capabilities. Ukrainian officials claimed partisans set fire to a Russian military facility in occupied Yalta, reinforcing the persistent threats Moscow faces from resistance groups in seized areas. Broe update. In the south, Russia's claims about killing a top Ukrainian commander remain unproven. Ukraine maintains he is alive. The Kremlin is now trying to discredit the commander, indicating Russia may be hiding the truth. In the east, Ukraine continues measured advances around Bakhmut. Russia is shifting forces here from the north to reinforce. It's unclear if Ukraine will exploit potential weaknesses. Ukraine also reports success pushing Russians back around Vuhledar, but details are scarce. Limited Ukrainian raids continue in the northeast and south with no major changes. Russia's next moves are unpredictable, but Ukraine has proven resilience and strategic foresight. Ukraine Matters Update. Ukraine has started utilizing more heavy weaponry and mechanized units in the fighting around Kherson after clearing Russian minefields. This includes tanks and infantry vehicles, though the exact extent is unconfirmed. Increased artillery strikes point to a possible Ukrainian offensive in the area. In the Donbass, Ukraine continues gradual advances south of Bakhmut. Russia may be shifting some forces here from the north to reinforce. Ukraine likely sees vulnerability, but it's unclear if they will exploit it. Around Vuhledar, Ukraine claims success pushing the Russians back, but details remain scarce. Limited raids have occurred in Kharkiv and Zaporizhzhia with no major updates. The situation is fluid and Russia's next moves are unpredictable. But Ukraine has the advantage and foresight to respond appropriately.